On Tuesday, the United States introduced a fresh round of travel restrictions targeting Nigerian travelers, including the requirement to post visa bonds of up to $15,000. The measures are part of a broader tightening of U.S. entry rules and are intended to ensure compliance with visa conditions. The action comes a week after partial U.S. travel restrictions on Nigeria took effect. What are visa bonds and how will they work against Nigerian travelers? Here is everything you need to know. What are visa bonds? Visa bonds are financial guarantees required by some countries from certain foreign nationals applying for temporary visas. Owing to their often significant financial commitments, they ensure compliance with visa terms, particularly to prevent overstays. So this is not unique to the US. No. Countries like Australia require security bonds for certain student or temporary visas, refundable upon compliance. Canada mandates financial undertakings for some sponsored family visits, where guarantors cover potential costs if the visitor overstays. What do the U.S. visa bonds entail? The U.S. visa bonds affect only applicants for the B1, B2 visitor visas, business or tourism. Now, applicants eligible for the visa category must post a bond of up to $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000, alongside a Department of Homeland Security (DHS) Form I-352. The bond amount is determined at the time of the visa interview. Does a bond guarantee visa issuance? No, a bond does not guarantee visa issuance. Also, applicants are only required to pay bonds at the direction of the consular officer. Are the bonds refundable? Yes. The bond will be canceled and the money returned automatically if the DHS records the visa holder's departure from the U.S. on or before the date to which they are authorized to stay in the country, if the visa holder does not travel to the U.S. before the expiration of their visa, or if the visa holder applies for and is denied admission at the U.S. port of entry. What are the ports of entry? Under these new rules, only 3 airports are designated ports of entry for bond payers. They include the Boston Logan International Airport in Boston, John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York, and the Washington Dulles International Airport in Virginia. Entry through an undesignated airport might lead to a denied entry or a departure that is not properly recorded. Are there breaches to the bonds? Yes. When a bond is paid, a breach can be recorded if DHS records indicate that the visa holder left the U.S. or remains in the country after their authorized. Former Kaduna Central Senator, Shehu Sani, has reacted to the visa bond the United States imposed on Nigeria. In a statement posted on his verified X handle on Wednesday, Sani said Nigerians brought the visa bond imposition on themselves. The United States on Tuesday introduced a new round of travel restrictions, which target Nigerian travelers, including the requirement to post visa bonds of up to $15,000. The development further complicates U.S. entry rules and are intended to ensure compliance with visa conditions. The measure is coming 1 week after partial U.S. travel restrictions on Nigeria took effect. Reacting, the former lawmaker said, the $15,000 visa bond imposed on Nigerians is part of the dividends of what some Nigerians invited for their country. Former Kaduna Central Senator, Shehu Sani, has reacted to the visa bond the United States imposed on Nigeria. In a statement posted on his verified X handle on Wednesday, Sani said Nigerians brought the visa bond imposition on themselves. The United States on Tuesday introduced a new round of travel restrictions, which target Nigerian travelers, including the requirement to post visa bonds of up to $15,000. The development further complicates U.S. entry rules and are intended to ensure compliance with visa conditions. The measure is coming 1 week after partial U.S. travel restrictions on Nigeria took effect. Reacting, the former lawmaker said, the $15,000 visa bond imposed on Nigerians is part of the dividends of what some Nigerians invited for their country. Nigerian passport holders seeking U.S. business or tourist visas will commence paying the $15,000 bond, which is approximately 22 million naira, from January 21, 2026. Nigerian applicants who satisfy consular offices' requests and are issued visas will have such bonds refunded once they depart the U.S. on or before expiration of the visa. In the update from the U.S. State Department on Tuesday, Nigeria is one of 38 countries affected. Any citizen or national traveling on a passport issued by one of these countries, who is otherwise found eligible for a B1, B2 visa, must post a bond of $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000. The amount is determined during the visa interview, the statement added. It also states that applicants must also submit the Department of Homeland Security's Form I-352. Applicants must also agree to the terms of the bond through the U.S. Department of the Treasury's online payment platform, Pay. Mali has announced that U.S. nationals visiting the West African country will be required to post a bond of up to $10,000, £7,500 for business and tourist visas, in response to a similar requirement the Trump administration has imposed on its citizens. The U.S. Embassy in Mali said on Friday the fee had been introduced to reinforce Washington's commitment to protecting America's borders and safeguarding U.S. national security. Mali's foreign ministry said on Sunday the bond had been imposed unilaterally, and it had decided to establish an identical visa program for U.S. citizens. The visa policy shift comes despite moves to improve diplomatic relations between the two countries. In July, U.S. officials visited Mali to discuss counterterrorism cooperation and economic partnerships, including potential access to Mali's gold and lithium reserves. Relations deteriorated after a coup in Mali in 2021 led to Gen Assimi Goïta sweeping to power. He pivoted the West African state towards Russia in a bid to stem a growing insurgency by jihadists. He expelled French troops and brought in mercenaries from Russia's Wagner Group, which is under Moscow's defense ministry. They have since been replaced by Afrika Korps. Last week, Burkina Faso's military government refused to take in deportees from the U.S., as Washington suspended issuing visas in the West African nation. Foreign Affairs Minister Karamoko Jean-Marie Traoré questioned if the embassy's decision was blackmail, after he said he had rejected a U.S. proposal to take in migrants from third countries. The Trump administration has turned to African countries as a destination to deport migrants to as part of its crackdown on immigration. The two countries required each other's citizens to post up to $10,000 in bonds if they are applying for a tourist or business visa. The U.S. has now removed Mali from the list of countries required to post visa bonds to obtain a U.S. visa. Up to $10,000 in bonds for a tourist or a business visa. This is the effort Malian citizens and then their counterparts from the U.S. had to make to obtain a visa to the other respective country. The visa policy row between the two nations started in early October, when the U.S. introduced the new visa bond pilot program and put Mali on the list, with an implementation date set for the 23rd of October 2025. Mali then retaliated with an identical policy. On the 23rd of October, the U.S. however published a revised list of countries whose citizens are required to post visa bonds, which did not include Mali. Mali has not yet responded to the U.S. initiative, and for now its visa bond requirement for American citizens remains intact. For U.S. visas, citizens from